Hello and welcome to Rogue Artisans and Crafters, winner of the 2018 Southern Oregon Television Awards for Best Arts and Culture Show. I'm your host, David Glamour Dave Nienow. We welcome you, our viewer, to our show where we feature local artists and craftspeople here in Southern Oregon. With our show, we talk to our featured artists about how they came to their art, what drives them as artists, find out stories behind their art process, and how their work as artists influences their lives. Today, we are exploring the world of the art of filmmaking here in Southern Oregon. It was in 1891 that Thomas Edison filed his patent for the first form of motion picture camera. From that moment, the world saw the creation of a new form of art, that of the motion picture. And since that time, the technology behind the creation of the modern movie has continually evolved to the point that modern technology allows today's modern movie maker to achieve whatever they can conceive in their mind and seeing it appear in film, no matter how extraordinary the story element may be. The latest Marvel film, Avengers: Infinity War, today represents what the latest in movie technology can achieve. But another aspect of modern technology's influence in the movie making process is that today's technology and its economics means that it has become easier for the average person to begin to explore and create their own film stories with equipment that most likely they already have in their possession. And with other minimal investments, they can produce a quality film that would not have so easily been done just a few years ago. And that has resulted in an explosion of amateur film producers creating video work all around the world. And that also includes right here in Southern Oregon. Southern Oregon is blessed with an incredible base of talent in all areas that involve film production. The Ashland and Southern Oregon area is yearly rated as one of the best areas in the country to live if you're a movie professional. And the Southern Oregon Film and Media Association, or SOFAM for short, of local film professionals help to assist and promote film production in our region. The local film scene in our area is continually growing with new projects as local filmmakers develop and create new films from shorts to full-length, feature-length films in all genres. Your host is a member of SOFAM. With all that in mind, I am pleased to have some really wonderful friends of mine from the local film industry come on to the show to talk about their own creative endeavors in film. And today we have Lia Dugal, Brittany Hreha, and Erin Rose of Cafe Girl Productions. Cafe Girls Production is the only local film production company that is operated by local women film artisans. And so we welcome Lia, Brittany, and Erin to the show.
And I'd like to point out that we have one more producer that isn't here today. Her name is Acela Lee Kemper. Hi, Acela.
Hi, Acela.
Hello, Acela. So it's wonderful to have you ladies here to talk about all your production work. And Lia, you're kind of like the cafe girl, right? You kind of started this little endeavor. So when and how did this get started?
Well, I guess the story always goes that in 2003, that's a long time ago, I went into this coffee shop. I just, I had nothing to do, and so on Saturday mornings I would run down to the cafe and buy coffee and sit there and read all day. And there was these boys that were outside, and I was inside, and we used to stare at each other, and like a set of boys. And then eventually I found my way to meeting them and getting to know them, and we became very close. And there were other girls that would come and go, but I was primarily like the only girl. It's kind of like the Elaine from Seinfeld. And so I kind of adopted, and they kind of adopted for me the Cafe Girl name. And then from there, I just went through life sort of with that mentality. I always have loved cafes and the culture of coffee shops. And one of the things that was sort of empowering about these group of boys was that they always encouraged me to be true to who I am and not apologize for that. And they all had that influence in one way or another. And so what was that? In 2012, I had a series of dreams that were consecutive. And I was always told, write them down and put it on YouTube. And so, okay, I wrote a script. And then the end of 2015, I was like, all right, let's get a couple people together to act and a couple people with a camera. And then we put it up there. And during that time, I realized that I had some skill in this whole thing producing. And it was funny because in like summer 2014, I had somebody randomly sit me down and say, I think you'd make a really good producer. And I was like, what? But he was right. And so then from there, I just started moving forward with that path, just kind of following wherever that would lead me.
Yeah.
And now, actually, we're not just Cafe Girl Productions, we're legally an INC. So Cafe Girl Productions, INC in the federal government and the state of Oregon, and we're also a benefit company, which means that our products, our films and media benefit society in a certain way. So that's actually just new this year.
Oh, great.
So it's okay if you say Cafe Girl Productions, but we're an INC.
Okay, cool. So that's some good progress. So now, Brittany, how did you come into Cafe Girl Productions?
It's actually a bit of a long story. I met Lia. We were doing a show. I don't remember what year it was. It was 5 or 6 years ago at RCC, the Stud Circles Working show. And we were in it, and we just really connected really well. And we had such a great time with that show. And then the show ended, and we all went our separate ways. I went to school, and 3 years later, I reconnected with Lia. We just found each other like on Facebook, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's Lia, hi. And she asked me if I wanted to be in a version of Macbeth. And I eventually played Lady Macbeth in that, and that's how it all got started. And she told me about how Cafe Girl started, and it was just such a wonderful, I was just so happy for her that she got to do that and just really come into her own. I got to see her grow and change and become really into her own as Cafe Girl. It was really cool.
Yeah, great.
Being involved in
And Erin, how did you come into Cafe Girl Productions?
Our newbie.
Well, yeah, I'm the newcomer, kind of new this year. I had met Lia, we've kind of off and on through the SOFAM meetings and mostly through Ray, of course. Ray Nienow connects everybody. So she asked me to kind of be on her web series, Nate and Laura, and how they met. And then we started working together, and I usually do script supervision and production coordination, that kind of stuff. I'm usually behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I kind of started helping out behind the scenes too, and then we just kind of went, oh, we should be working together. This is what we should be doing. We should have been doing this long before. So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just so thrilled to be able to be a part of this amazing group of women. So, yeah.
Yeah. So now, since the formation of Cafe Girl Productions, what all have you produced so far?
Okay, so our first ever venture into the production world was the very raw and early working of Homesick, the Doctor Who fan fiction. And then from there, we did 2 YouTube commercials. One was a YouTube trailer for the book written by Katherine Hanson, Dreamcast. And you can see that on our YouTube channel. And then there's also a little YouTube trailer for the book, The Nightbirds Sing, written by Ruth Wire. And those were just like a day thing. And then from there we went and we did our first short film that summer was the short film written by David Hill called Catatonia of the Fairies. And then from there we went down to Oroville, California, and I was in a production, a play version of Romeo and Juliet at the Birdcage Theater, and we filmed it, and so we have that to showcase. And then from there, do I keep going?
Yeah,
So
no.
from there we were going to do it as a play, but it ended up doing it as a film, Daggers and Smiles, which is a modern day Scottish play. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it. I don't want to jinx the theater gossip or whatever. And then let's see, this last summer, a year ago, we did a reboot of Homesick, but we did a new prequel called Heartsick that Brittany wrote, and then there was more from the focus of the Doctor, and then we redid the ending of Homesick and kind of revamped all the older shows. And then this last spring, we've been working on Nate and Laura and how they met. And we're also fundraising for a short horror trilogy film with Bison Motion Pictures called Make Me Smile. And yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the Heartsick and Homesick that brought me into your world last summer.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, because it was, you and I met last year when we were both going through the studio certification class here at the studio.
Yeah.
And then it was near the end of all that certification process that you wrangled me into, and to come in and work on the summer Heartsick and Homesick series work. And I worked doing just background behind the scenes photography.
Set photographer,
and
hold a boom mic.
Right.
And now you're a barista boy.
Yeah. So, so yeah. So you wrangled me into your world, and it's been a fun experience.
Thank you.
So
It's mutual.
yeah, well, thank you. It's definitely fun. It's been fun learning kind of the behind the scenes process. And
True.
one of the things that I found about the experience last summer with the whole Doctor Who thing was that all of a sudden I found myself around a group of people that were as nerdy as me when it came to science fiction and fantasy. So that was a new experience for me. So I thank you for that.
We live to serve.
Yeah.
We live to serve.
Yeah. So
Our
now,
job is done.
so now, so your new project is Nate and Laura.
Nate and Laura and how they met.
Right.
That's what we're in production for right now.
Right. And what's the basis of the story? It's like is it, my feeling so far, because I've only had time to like assist on a couple of days here on your production, but it's like a romance.
It's a romantic comedy, but there's a little bit more going on. There is this element of every character, including Nate and Laura, the two main characters, this chance encounter that sparks every kind of snowballs out to every single person having to look, especially the main characters, and there's like, 8 main characters that are all interwoven, and they all have to look at themselves, examine themselves, and then rework on themselves and find their truth, and find their purpose in life, and also ultimately find love. And that's not necessarily romantic love. It could be, some kind of higher power love. It could be some, self-love, and really be true to that. And that's what's, I think, is special about Nate and Laura.
Okay. And where are you at in the production process? When do we expect to see this get released?
So we should be done around May 20th with most of the footage, and then we'll go into post-production for season 1 in the summertime, and then we'll air season 1 in the fall, September, and then be starting on season 2 then as well.
Right.
And then the good thing that you can look for is we have a little prequel to that called Explore with Ashley Lee, one of the main characters of Nate and Laura. Ashley Lee has her own YouTube channel, and we'll showcase that before, and a lot of the other characters come onto that. So you'll see that in July.
Okay. Now, we have like a short video. It's kind of like a compilation of some of your, it's like your 2017 reel to show a few samples. So if the control room could bring that up, and we'll watch that for a little bit.
Who's there in the other devil's name? It's an equivocator, one who could swear to both scales against the other's scale, one who has committed treason for God's sake, but could not equivocate himself to heaven. Oh, come in, equivocator. Knock, knock, who's there? Oh, 'tis an English tailor come hither for stealing out a French hose. Come in, tailor. Here you may roast your goose.
If you guys find her, is there any way you can have her committed?
Robert, the doctor already told us that they can only hold her for 72 hours for observation if she's a threat to herself or others.
The state mental hospital closed down 40 years ago, and there is a locked ward at General, but like you said, it's only good for observation.
There are private places, though, for those who can afford them.
All she does are these catatonic fits. Sometimes she hears voices, but I'm sure she's no harm to herself or others.
Her doctor said there's another kind of catatonia, a kind where the sufferer performs violent feats of strength, almost superhuman. People used to think they were possessed by demons.
She's harmless though. Mostly just plays possum.
It's not that we're worried that she'll harm anyone. It's that someone might harm her. She was wearing nothing but a nightgown, a thin nightgown.
So, what are you going to do, Doctor?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
Meaning, you tell.
Could be, but then that's for you to know and me to find out. No way to reverse that. Maybe, but first things first. Release Lauren, then we'll talk.
She's gone.
What?
She left with...
She's gone, yes. Yeah, she's gone. That's all you need to know.
Left with her sanity? Well, I sure hope so, because believe you me, I've lost mine a long time ago. I hope she holds on to hers for quite some time now. Well, maybe. Sanity's a bit overrated, don't you think? Never have much fun, the sane. Now the insane, they're worlds of fun. Worlds of fun. Right then, where was I? Oh yes, well, if Lauren's gone, I'll deal with you now. I think a good old-fashioned banishment will do.
Banishment? We're your family.
Time Lords, yes. Family. Not sure about that. No, not at all. What is family, really? No, really, I want to know. Actually, don't answer that, it would take too long. Right, I'm sending you to the space between universes, locked in a time envelope of which only I can open the lock, far away from where you can get your Time Lord and Lady hands on the time key. Somewhere where you'll be safe as well. Well, any last words? I didn't think so. Right then, vamonos!
All right, so we're back. So that's a good sample of some of your past work in the last year or two, right?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that for the first two, Daggers and Min Smiles and Catatonia of the Fairies, you can rent them or purchase them on Vimeo on demand. So.
Right. Now, Brittany, besides being an actress in Cafe Girl Productions, you're also a writer and you're also a composer.
Yes.
Yes. So you've written some of the music.
I have. Yeah. I'm currently a music student at SOU.
Right.
I play piano and I write music. I don't remember how exactly it came about, but like I think I told Lia that I write music, or she asked if I write music, or said, "Would you want to write the soundtrack?" I said, "Okay, sure." It's kind of what I want to do anyways with my career. I would like to write music for films and independent and local things. It was fun to do the soundtrack for I shouldn't say it, Daggers and Men Smiles, and explore the different moods and try and capturing a mood and a feel of when you're writing music for a film. You're not just you're trying to capture the emotions and the entire feel of an entire story, not just one particular moment, but an overarching feel.
Right, yeah.
And that was something really cool that I got to explore and then expand on with Heartsick and Homesick, which was just just a blast. It was wonderful.
Now, where you're at in your studies at the university right now?
I have one more term left in the fall of 2018, and then I will be graduating, and I'll walk in spring.
All right, all right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Erin, so now you've also done some acting in the past, right? And I understand you've done some work with Ray Robinson, who's one of our lead producer directors of film here in Southern Oregon. So what projects have you done with him?
Let's see, I started on, Dear Future Self was the first one we did together. And then we've done An Affair Remains, and what was the most recent one? Oh, Mystic Onions at the Comic-Con. That one was a lot of fun.
Oh, I saw you guys running around. That looked like fun.
From start to finish, we wrote it and filmed it and edited it in 24 hours. So we got the idea of what we were going to film, had it done the next day. It was a lot of fun. Yep, I've done a couple of the 24-hour film races with him. Those are a blast. Mostly just little short things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got the experience doing the behind the scenes kind of production work.
Yep, I love working on scripts. That's one of my favorite things to do, just take the script apart, put it together, help people keep on track on set and make sure the lines are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, keep everybody to task.
She's good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I believe that we could bring up another trailer from one of your projects. We can bring up the trailer for Heartsick, and we can watch that.
Cool.
Do it.
I'm the Doctor, and right now you're standing between me and the destruction of everything you know and love.
You parked your porta potty box in my favorite spot.
Porta what? It's gonna blow! It's gonna blow! Oh, you cold? No! More people could die because you're keeping me from saving them!
He blocked all the exits. We're trapped.
Can't you hear it?
No, I can't. Come on, Doctor, come on!
Better hang on, Lauren. We're going for a ride!
Where?
Everywhere!
What?
All right, so we're back. Now, two things stand out from that. One was that you gals managed to get your own TARDIS built.
Yep.
Right, so you have a TARDIS that you can also not only use for your productions, but you can actually rent it out for events.
Yeah, and it'll be at Meadowlark Comic-Con next weekend,
Right.
May 12th. And actually, we're also doing, Brittany is spearheading the next, this summer, the next edition of this series,
Yeah,
Time
okay.
Sick and Mind Sick.
Okay.
So you'll look
Yeah.
for that
And
next year.
and also make note that part of the interior TARDIS special effects were actually produced here at the
Right.
studio
That's
here at
right.
RVTV
Right, yep.
last summer. Yeah, and I remember that. We had a nice long fun-filled day trying to get that, and it all turned out pretty well.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
was beautiful.
Awesome.
Actually, some
Yeah.
of the stuff you saw in the trailer was shot here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know. I mean, we didn't have that behind. We were just on a green screen running around,
Yeah.
pretending.
It
like
turned
we-
out amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, it certainly makes for a nice little showcase of the capabilities that can be done here at
Yeah,
RVTV.
yeah, definitely. And
Yeah, so-
I recommend taking the producer classes, the studio classes.
Yeah.
Are beneficial.
Now, everyone, in my experience with all you gals and everyone else, we all seem to have a general appreciation and love for various sci-fi and fantasy franchises, film and TV-wise. So here's a question for all three of you. If you had a chance to appear in one specific favorite film franchise or TV franchise, which would you want to appear in?
Probably Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only one I really know. In all honesty, I'm new to the sci-fi world. I was introduced to it back in 2011 from my ex-husband, and he introduced me to Doctor Who, and I was like, wow, sci-fi is cool. But growing up, my favorite TV show of all time is Night Court, and I like Saturday Night Live, and I would come home when I was 8 years old and watch Abbott and Costello,
Yeah.
and study the heck out of comedy. So, but if you said sci-fi, it'd be Doctor Who.
Yeah. So who's your favorite Doctor in Doctor Who? You know that question had to come.
11 forever. I love 11. Matt Smith.
Okay. All right, Brittany.
Does it have to be from the TV? It has to be from the TV show?
No, not necessarily.
Our doctor.
I have to say that Nick has been a fantastic doctor.
Yeah.
I really enjoy working with him. He just really embodied the character and just made him his own.
Yeah, he actually did pretty well.
Did it really good.
Yeah.
He's a good
But
guy.
from the TV show, my favorite is the 10th Doctor.
Okay. All right. Erin?
Yeah, I'm a David Tennant.
Yeah.
David Tennant fan.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm a bit of a David Tennant fan myself as well.
Oh, outnumbered,
Yeah.
as usual.
Okay. Well, we've basically kind of come near the end of the show, but one last little bit before we close out. is to do a little review to see how well our careers are coming along in the world of Internet Movie Database star meter ratings. So, everyone ready?
Sure.
That's all I'll ever be.
Okay. Well, Erin, your IMDb says you're rated right now at 1,340,195.
We'll get you there.
We need to get you up
We'll
there.
get you there.
very long.
Brittany,
Nate
you're at 4,007,780.
We'll get you there.
We got to work on that. We got,
Yeah, we'll get you there.
And Leah, you're at 266,829.
Wow.
So, and I'm just right now this week I'm at 85,848. So, but I do a lot of sending traffic to that. So it helps. It helps. But we need to you need to take control. Well, we got a long ways to go because my favorite person on IMDb is Dr. Michio Kaku. He's one of my favorite scientists. He's rated at 50,000 something this week, and I guarantee he's making more money than all of us are. So we got a long ways to go. But it's been fun having you all on.
Yes, it has. Thank you, David.
I thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
So we've reached the end of our show, Rogue Artisans and Crafters, and we thank you at home for joining us and learning about our featured artists, Lia Dugal, Brittany Hreha, and Erin Rose of Cafe Girl Productions. Wish to thank them all for agreeing to come on to the show to discuss their life in the world of local filmmaking. I encourage you, the viewer, to visit and view the various film productions of Cafe Girl Productions online at their various online site venues. We also want to thank our crew who made it possible to put this program together, and to thank RVTV for their wonderful studio facility, which allows us to produce shows such as this one. If you'd like to become a studio producer and create your own public access show, you can contact RVTV to learn how. You can watch the show on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. and Thursday evenings at 11:30 p.m. on Channel 15 of the Ashland Home Network, and in the rest of Southern Oregon via Charter Cable on Channel 182. You can also find all episodes of Rogue Artisans and Crafters at archive.org. You can also visit RVTV online at rvtv.sou.edu to find live streaming of all RVTV shows. You can also follow our show on Facebook by visiting and liking our official show page. Just search for Rogue Artisans and Crafters. I'm your host, David Glamour Dave Nienow, and we will see you next time.
That was